Now, from CBS News Miami, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome to Facing South Florida. I'm Jim DeFede. A lot has happened over the past week. Ron DeSantis dropped out of the presidential race and is now back in Florida, where legislators are waiting to see if he will be at all chastened by his loss or vengeful in defeat. In the meantime, Donald Trump, with his victory over Nikki Haley in New Hampshire, is well on his way to winning the nomination. We seem destined to repeat a race in the country that nobody really wants, a rematch between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. We'll talk more about that later. But we begin with Congress, where we are working once again under a short-term funding plan to keep the government open. There has been little progress on border security or funding for Ukraine and Israel. And I'm joined now this morning by South Florida Republican Congresswoman Elvira Salazar. Congresswoman, thank you for coming in. It's been too long since we sat down together.
Well, because of COVID did not let us come close to each other.
That's it. You know, there's a lot I want to talk to you about, and you know, obviously we'll get to a lot of it today. We'll have you come back and do more. I want to talk about your Dignity Act and what you're trying to do.
Good.
But actually, I do want to start with where we are with Donald Trump in the presidential race. Have you endorsed Donald Trump yet?
I have not, but everything indicates that he's going to be the nominee for the party. And I always say to everyone who asks me, let me see this hair, look, this hair is going up and I need to look good on camera, that Donald Trump is going to be the nominee. Everyone asks me, what do you think about him? It's not what we think about the guy, it's what the Republican base loves about him. There were 5 or 6 or 7 contenders, among them our governor, who I thought he was a great job at during COVID, but still the Republican base wants Donald Trump. You know why, I believe? Because of the economy. Don't you remember that James Carville used to say to Bill Clinton, it's the economy, stupid, it's the economy. Look, I had a friend in New York who was telling me, I'm going to vote for Trump because last year my bonus was miserable. 4 years ago, it was the best bonus in my life. So people, you know, for you to pursue happiness, you need to have your pocket full or at least satisfied.
But let's make this a conversation. The stock market is higher than ever. You know, we just got a GDP report that beat expectations. Gross domestic product is growing by more than 3%. Donald Trump said it would go in the tank under Joe Biden.
But you know what happened?
Inflation is coming down.
But inflation was here and now it's coming down.
Yes.
But people remember when we were paying $1.50 for gas for a tank of to fill your tank or per gallon. People remember when eggs were $3. Hey, when I got to Congress in 2021, the first bill that I voted against was $1.9 trillion because of COVID. We had spent already $6 trillion during Trump because of, March 2020. Biden, unfortunately, and his advisors have destroyed the economy, and that has
consequences. This is a destroyed economy? The lowest unemployment rate?
People are not feeling it.
Inflation coming down?
Hey. People are not stupid. People are just not feeling, because if they were to be feeling it, as you were saying, I know that the indicators, I know that the facts are saying, I mean, the numbers are saying what you're telling me, but apparently people are not feeling it.
Maybe is it partly because people keep telling them, like yourself, that Biden crashed the economy? Are you starting to just make it
Give them a little bit more credit. When you go to the supermarket, no one has to tell you, hey, the eggs are $8, they're $3. No, I mean,
so
people feel it.
Are you going to endorse Donald Trump?
I am going to, of course. I'm waiting to talk to him. And my issue, it's immigration, and they know it. And I am waiting to have a conversation with the president.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Because, immigration is very important, and immigration is important for both parties, and both parties have done a dismal job when it comes to it. That's why I wrote the dignity law.
So when you talk to Donald Trump, are you going to ask him what he meant when he said that illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our nation? Do you agree with that? Is illegal immigration poisoning the blood of our nation?
Hey, my parents, I'm first generation Cuban. My parents were political refugees. I don't think so, but I do know that what we're having right now at the border cannot happen. You cannot have 8 million undocumented that you really do not know who those people are coming into the country.
But the language,
it has to be borderly.
The language of poisoning the blood of our country. Are you troubled by that language?
I think those aren't the proper words to use, no.
Okay. In Iowa, Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually in Iowa, Donald Trump said, following the Eisenhower model, we will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, referring to the Eisenhower model. Do you know what the Eisenhower model was called?
1952, of course, but reality
what was it called?
I understand, but
Operation Wetback.
Listen. I understand that you want me to say that Trump is really bad for immigration, but let me tell you something. I am very upset with the Dems because the Democrats have had for 30 years the opportunity to do good to my community. I represent proudly the largest minority in the country. The Mexicans, the Colombians, the Cubans, the Bolivians, they're Nicaraguans, all right? The Hispanics. President Obama, and I'm sure you were in that press conference, Jorge Ramos was, I was, he said to us in the first 100 days of my presidency, this is Obama, right? The darling of the Dems. I'm going to, within the first 100 days of my presidency, I'm going to do an immigration reform law. What did he do? He invested that political capital in Obamacare. Fast forward, President Biden. Within my first 100 days of my presidency, I'm going to do an immigration reform law, and I'm going to give some type of dignity to those people who live in the shadows. What did he do? Nothing. So the Dems, now you're telling me about, let's put the Republicans, proudly Republican, on the side. The Democrats, they have had an opportunity for 35 years to give us an immigration reform law, and they have not. In 2021, Nancy Pelosi had the opportunity under Biden, because she had the White House, the Senate, and the House. She had the opportunity to introduce, just like she did infrastructure and the BBB. You were around. That was few months ago. Introduce an immigration reform, and they did not. You know why? Because everyone plays political football with the Hispanics.
Including Republicans?
Well, the Republicans have never promised. This is the first time, with yours truly, that we're having a law called the Dignity Act, which seals the border, seals it, reforms legal immigration, makes those people who are here pay, ends catch and release, creates humanitarian centers for those who are coming, claiming for asylum. We're going to figure out in 60 days if you have merits for asylum or not. So you seal the border, you end catch and release, you implement E-Verify, and then you look back and you bring out of the shadows 10 million illegals or undocumented or people without papers who have been here for more than 5 years, have American kids, have not committed a crime, are paying taxes, and are working. That's the ideal.
Great. Okay, so
that's the solution.
So
and I wrote it. Proudly, the representative of District Number 27.
You wrote it.
Yes, I wrote it. By myself, with my staff.
Okay. And you now have a Republican majority in the House, and you have this bill, and yet your speaker, and the current speaker, Mike Johnson, and the former speaker, Kevin McCarthy, never gave you a hearing on that bill. Have you had a hearing yet on that bill? Have you had a markup on that bill?
We still have until November of 24. I mean, I'm
so
working with.
So have you gotten a commitment to it?
Listen, immigration is very fluid. Wait.
There's nobody on your side of the aisle that really wants to handle it, because they know that the far right in your party does not want to do anything called immigration reform.
But then what about the Dems? Because I'm working with Veronica Escobar, proudly, who's a liberal from El Paso, Texas, and another Hispanic female. So we are the perfect combination. Salazar, Republican, Escobar, Democrat. And she's working with Nancy and her party, and I'm working with Johnson with mine. It's not so easy, because if it were to be so easy, then all my Dems, your 213 Dems right now, that would be with dignity. It's a very complicated for many people, including many liberal Dems. That's why it hasn't happened during Clinton and during Obama. So all I'm trying to say to you is that, there are no saints. The saints are in heaven. When it comes to immigration, there are no saints when it comes to the border. But you do agree with me that there's no way that the Biden administration can allow and continue having that border so open. Don't you think that 6 million people in 3 years is a lot? Tell me, I'm asking you.
No, it's a lot.
Oh, thank you. Good, yeah. I'm glad. And someone has to stop it, right? And no one has done it. So there has been discussion in the Senate to try to come up with a compromise. It seems dead now. Wait, where is the Langford and another one? Where is the? If the Dems, Schumer, now just perfect. You've given me the perfect scenario. Schumer the Biden administration, remember that immigration is in the hands of the feds, is in the hands of the executive. Why don't you come up with something that's reasonable? And Schumer will introduce it in the Senate. Then the Dems would look better. But don't you see that everyone is here to...
The Democrats have offered increased border security, have given on policy, and what they want in return
Where is the legislation? Where?
You know how it works in the Senate. They're negotiating with Republicans in the Senate.
Okay, but they haven't produced a piece of paper like I have.
Okay, you've got a piece.
I have 500. But where's the Senate?
Great,
where's Schumer?
You've got a piece of paper that has no hearing. Do you actually think the Dignity Act that you've sponsored is going to pass this year?
Could very well be. You know why? Out of necessity, because there's nothing else.
Then you're going to have to pass it, obviously, with Democrats, because a lot in your party will not do it.
Of course, that's why I have Veronica Escobar. Of course, it's bipartisan. If someone thinks in Washington that you can pass anything just with one party, they're dreaming. We, the Republicans, we have a majority of two. One gets a cold, and the other one has a personal problem. Then we don't have a majority. Of course, that you have to have a bipartisan.
And you got a group that
for every bill, though, not only for immigration.
McCarthy referred to as the Crazy Eight, right?
Because, hey, listen, I never criticize anyone in Congress. You know why? Because we all have the same pen. They won an election. They're representing their district.
I got to take a break.
And they know what they're doing.
Let's take a break.
I know what I'm doing in 27. I mean, Marjorie Taylor and her group will know what they're doing.
Let's talk.
Or AOC. They also represent her side. Or Ilhan Omar.
Let's take a break here. We'll come right back and continue this conversation with Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar when we come back. Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation with South Florida Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar.
A very quiet one.
A very quiet conversation.
Quiet,
all right,
yeah. I do want to say that you are one of the toughest and one of the most rigorous journalists in South Florida.
I want to just deal with this quickly.
No.
Manuel Rocha, the former U.S. ambassador to Latin America, charged for being an agent of Cuba. You had received 2 contributions from him of $750 for your campaigns. You returned the money. I just want to be the only thing I want to ask you is, have you ever met? I just want to be clear. Have you ever met?
Rocha was very well known by the community,
so you have met him.
Well, I really don't remember. Maybe at an event. I don't remember. I don't have him on my radar. But 2 things. Anyone can donate to Salazar for Congress. You go on your computer and you deposit, or you make a contribution of. I think you did $750.
Yeah. Your response.
But what indicates to you is the monumental ability of the Cubans to penetrate the United States. I mean, these people are good.
Well, you wrote
the Mossad, is the CIA, and is the Cubans.
Your response was to the arrest and indictment of Rocha was to attack the Biden administration, writing on Twitter, Biden administration, wake up, exclamation point.
Yeah, wake up that there could be many other. But not only
But it was
Biden.
the Biden administration that caught him. Does he not get credit?
No, sure they do. I'm not saying that they don't. All I'm saying is that wake up, because there could be many others. Look at Ana Belén Montes. She was the most important Cuban spy that has penetrated the Pentagon.
All right, we only have a limited amount of time.
They are good, unfortunately. They would use all those reasons. The Cuban regime would use all those resources to create planes or shoes. We would be Hong Kong.
All right, I want to go to, earlier I asked you a question about Donald Trump talking about illegal immigration is poisoning the blood of our nation. No, I want to go to a statement you made about Argentina. You endorsed the new president of Argentina during his run, and you said something that caught a lot of attention. Referring to Argentina, a country that has everything. It has soy, it has meat, it has minerals, it has land. And then you wrote also, it has only one culture, only one religion, and only one race, completely homogeneous. Do you think a country with only one race and one culture,
Jim,
is that the idea?
Don't try to distort it. All I'm trying to say is that Argentinians have everything in order to be successful. And because of socialism, let me finish, because of socialism, they have not been able to have the economy that they deserve. When you have land, you have minerals, you have one culture, you have one
culture and one race so
because
important?
it makes it easier, because the American experiment, not everyone could have. The American exceptionality has not been able to be replicated in other countries.
It sounds like you're advocating for...
No, I'm not advocating. You are misinterpreting. Okay. I think on Argentina, what they have right now is Javier Milei. Thank God for the Argentinians, and he could become a moral reference for the rest of Latin America. Why? Because he can demonstrate that with capitalism, free market economy, equality of opportunity, not of results, which is capitalism. Wait, let me finish. Capitalism with liberty, with freedom, with open markets, with free press, you can be prosperous.
All right,
that's all he's trying to say. And that is he's a very good example for Nicaragua, for Maduro, for Cuba, and for the rest of the hemisphere.
I want to talk about some of the spending going on in Congress and the fact that Congress doesn't seem to be able to.
Let's go to the America's Act, which ties with Argentina.
No, let me go to spending.
Which I also introduced in Congress.
Last month, you were at FIU, and you presented a check for $650,000 to help small businesses at FIU. But you voted against the bill that gave the money that you then signed a check for and handed and had a photo op, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, right? You voted against that bill.
Right now, you have to give me more details, but I do know that every time I have an opportunity to bring money to my constituents, I do so. I just did $400,000. But look,
but you voted against the Chips and Science Act, right?
Listen, right now I need to ask my staff. But what do we look at the $40 million that I have brought to this community? Aren't you proud of me? Aren't you proud of the $40 million that I brought?
But how
Aren't
much?
you proud that I wrote the Dignity Act? Haven't I? Let's talk about the America's Act.
Wait a second. Let me 1 second.
Tell me.
The money that you talk about, the $40 million that you bring back to the district, sometimes that money comes from bills that you voted against. You voted against the CHIPS Act, and yet you praise the fact that the South Florida Climate Resilience Tech Hub is going to be started in Miami, right? You voted against the infrastructure bill, and you talk about all the money that comes back to the airport. So at the same time that you're taking credit for the money that you bring back to the district, in Washington, you're voting against these projects on party line votes.
Listen, that was, I think, last cycle. I cannot really remember right now, but let's look at the America's Act, which is what I'm going to, which is
so
what I would like.
You don't want to explain why you vote
really
against things?
I mean, right now, and I'm not trying to be a politician, there's so many bills that I've introduced that I know that many of them
these are bills that you voted against.
That I understand. But it's, okay, sometimes I vote
bills.
and sometimes I don't. But let's look at the positive. Let's look at the $40 million that I brought, and let's look at the dignity, and let's go to the America's Act, which could be great for every single constituent that I have in 27, in 26 in South Florida. What is the America's Act? America's Act is that we're telling the, would you care about to know about?
Well, actually, here's why I'd rather talk about Ukraine and Israel funding. All right. You support Ukraine funding.
America's Act is as important as, of course, America's Act is as important as Ukraine as Israel.
What are you doing to convince other Republicans, because a lot of the Ukraine funding is now being held up because the Speaker, Mike Johnson, and others in your party do not want to give any additional funding to Ukraine. How are you navigating that?
No. It's not that they don't want to give any additional to Ukraine. No, is that they have had this strategy of putting together to force the Biden administration to pay attention to the border, because so the viewers understand is that there's nothing that the Republicans could do in order to send the message to Biden and to Mayorkas, hey guys, pay attention to the border, do something, increase border security, give more money.
Do you think that's a good
understand?
strategy?
So I don't think that it should be tied. I don't think so. It's just a
same thing with Israel funding.
Of course, should not be tied. Israel is sacred. Ukraine is sacred. The border is sacred.
Why won't but your party won't accept that?
Because leadership is thinking differently. I mean, we are in democracy, and Mike Johnson is the art of the possible. That's politics, and he has different forces pushing him in different directions. But we do know, everyone knows, from the Dems to the Republicans, that Ukraine is sacred, in my book, and Israel even more. Why Ukraine is sacred? Because if we send the wrong message to Vladimir Putin, we're going to have him in Poland or in Moldova or in Turkey at any time, which is what the Europeans are telling us. Be careful, because this could be a bigger war. What we're giving Ukraine is only, 3%, 4% of the the Defense Department budget. But the thing is that the border, and I want everyone who's watching us to understand, the border is such a monumental problem, and unfortunately, Biden and Mayorkas. And I do believe, you haven't asked me about Mayorkas, but I want to tell you.
Do you think that he should be impeached?
I think Mayorkas has a boss.
Do you think Mayorkas should be impeached?
I don't think we're going to get anything by impeaching him because he is going to continue in his position. I have had good conversations with Mayorkas. I always ask him about two things: the I-220A, which is very important for my 27, because remember, I'm in Congress, but I'm thinking Miami, and I'm thinking 27. The people who live in my district, and you have a lot of Cubans.
I got 15 seconds, so wrap up. I'll give you the last 15 seconds. Go ahead.
No, all I'm saying is that this is not the best moment for our country. I still believe that the American exceptionality is working and that we all have to work together in a bipartisan fashion. That's why I've introduced America's Act in a bipartisan fashion and Dignity Act. I did my job. I wrote immigration law. Let's see if the Dems and the Republicans pay attention to me. Goodbye.
We will continue to talk. All right, we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back. Before we go, I wanted to take a moment and discuss former school board member Dr. Lubby Navarro. Well, what I really wanted to discuss was the doctor part of Dr. Lubby Navarro. As you may know by now, Navarro was arrested earlier this month for using her school district credit cards to allegedly steal $100,000 from the school district. Investigators claim she used the credit cards to pay for personal items, family vacations to Disney World and the Dominican Republic, as well as a trip with her boyfriend to Las Vegas. Vegas, baby, Vegas. Now, I'm not sure how that trip went, but investigators also claim after she broke up with her boyfriend, she used the district credit card to buy 2 artificial silicone and cotton padded pregnancy bellies from Amazon, like the ones you see here, to trick her boyfriend into believing she was pregnant. She also purchased 2 electronic tracking devices that detectives allegedly found in the wheel well and under the front grille of her boyfriend's car. Navarro denies wrongdoing, and her attorney says she will be exonerated. But if these allegations are true, you would expect better from a doctor. Which brings me back to today's topic. 2 years ago, I noted on this show that Navarro insisted that her colleagues and staff referred to her as Dr. Navarro. And I started looking at exactly how she was a doctor. Did she have a medical degree? No. Did she have an advanced degree or a master's degree in science or education? No. She demanded that she be referred to as Dr. Navarro after receiving an honorary doctorate from something called the Catholic University of New Spain, a for-profit private school located on the 9th floor of a downtown Miami office building. Here is a picture of the ceremony from September 2019 on the school's website. Now, after her arrest, I contacted the school and they told me, given the allegations, they were rescinding her honorary doctorate, saying in a statement, "The university does not condone this type of impropriety. We hold our honorary doctorate recipients to a higher standard." So moving forward, you can call Lubby Navarro a lot of things, but doctor is no longer one of them. Well, that's all the time we have. We'll be back again next week. Thanks again for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.